right, you all remember that on the show Game Time, we talked about a pinball / video arcade that was opening here in the Girard, Ohio area. Well, I'm here on location at the Pastimes Pinball and Video Arcade Retro Game Store, Coronat Museum. They're getting ready to open. We're going to go into this. They're opening in the spring / early summer. So I'm going to take you on a little journey firsthand, take a look at all these cool arcades. We're going to go in and meet Mike, taking on this journey. We'll see you in a bit.
Game without reading cards.
Right.
But the rules that are on the cards will tell you how to play the game. And these games are much more simple. So if anything, I know they're not as flashy and attractive, but if you're like, I don't like pinball, I'm not good at pinball, I don't understand pinball.
Yeah.
A good place to start are these 60s and 70s games. And we have, these ones are all foreign right here. We have some of the great classics on the other row over here that we can walk and see.
Okay, yeah.
Those are going to be games that a lot of the heyday of the arcade dwellers, you know, the 60s and 70s, those are going to be things that they're going to see and recognize as we walk down this row.
Yeah, this is like taking you back. It'd be cool if each row is themed, you know, like you had some kind of...
Well, and that's how we have it laid out right now, is we're keeping the Bally's together, the Williams together, okay, for right now. Now we have some that are out of sorts because once we get closer to opening, we'll do a kind of a final shuffle of games, so that way we're not, every time we have a game we shuffle, and we have to shuffle because there's like a compounding shuffling that needs to happen every time you put a new game in.
Right.
But these are going to be your 60s Bally's that we have here. And we go down, and we have some classic Bally's down here too that I'm sure some people would recognize.
Yeah, these are all immaculate, and they're all working. Man. It's just machine after machine. You're walking down.
Yeah. This Bally Joker, we got this from a collector. We made a trade. And this one, we needed to put new score reels in it. This one was never released as a full production. So this one was released to certain distributors to test it, to try it out. And actually what's really, really cool about this is we have the original paperwork that you would send back to Bally.
Wow.
To report any issues or any complaints about the game that you'd have, any feedback. And so obviously, I mean, the public's probably not going to see that, but kind of a neat thing that this is a really, really hard game to find. And a lot of people would just probably walk past it. These ones right here are probably going to be ones that people are going to recognize. These are arguably, arguably Bally's best as far as recognition
Fireball.
goes. Yeah, has a spinner in the middle.
Yep.
Older Williams games over here. These didn't last very long. And Rob does have all these. They have these little shelves.
Yeah.
Put your cigarette or cigar, your beer on it. For a couple reasons. People were banging their knees on them.
Oh.
That's the main reason.
Yeah.
And I've read that the arcades didn't really care for them a whole lot either because they stuck out and they were a deeper footprint. So when you're talking about maximizing space and not having that.
Well, then after time, you know, bowling alleys and that started banning smoking in there anyway. So they're kind of people putting their drinks down there. You'd be worried, man, they'd spill it on the straight into the mech, you know.
You could be, but a lot of times people are putting them up on the glass.
That's what they do. I put cup holders. I actually
on the legs.
On the legs, I have a screw cup holder that they could slide right in it. Because of that, even though it's digital, I don't want stuff up on the glass. What do we got here?
These are two games. This one's called Ringer. And so how this game plays is there's horseshoes, and you spin this, and the guy will throw the horseshoe, and depending on how you spin it properly, there's a break in there that'll slow down the spinner, and then that will throw your horseshoes, and you spin it. It's a two-player game.
Wow.
This one right here is, if you're familiar with a pachinko games.
Yes.
Which are games that you shoot a ball, and it's like a plinko. But this game is a two-player game that the horses will light up and they'll actually race. So I'm player one, player two, I'm the yellow horse, you're the red horse. and you shoot this ball, and as it goes through, they're just lights that'll light up. So if you hit 4 lengths, it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and so you race. So it's not really.
That's an old game.
Yeah, not really skill based. It's a lot of fun to play head to head and hoop and holler, but there's not really much of a. You're basically just shooting a ball, and by chance things happen.
Still, it's pretty neat to play that.
We have some older games here.
Yeah, you got the whiz bang. I caught that as soon as you showed that. I was like, wow.
Yeah, this was made in Youngstown. In Youngstown, just down the road, believe it or not, before Chicago, Youngstown was one of the main starting points for making pinballs. So there's some history here. We got this from the guys who run the Adora Park Experience. So Jim Amy, that's who we purchased that off of. So I'm curious where they got it from. Some older games here, right? These are kind of they're very, very cool to look at.
Yeah.
You notice that these ones don't even have flippers on them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
They are just, you nudge and you shake and you try to get the balls to go. And
I'm really surprised you're going to have these out to play.
We'll have a couple of them.
It's almost like these should be like in a room over there to where like, yeah, you can play them under supervision, but it's more or less like it's not an everyday game to play.
Sure.
But I get it.
We have the very first game with flippers right here. 1947 Humpty Dumpty. So this is before this game was created. It was actually outlawed. Pinball specifically was outlawed in a lot of states and municipalities because they considered it to be a game of chance and gambling, because you could earn credits and you didn't have control of the ball, and some of them would even use them as gambling devices. In fact, there were some pinballs that were specifically designed to be gambling devices. So this game, keep the ball in play, nudge the flippers, it changed it from being a game of chance to a game of skill.
Yeah.
So the flippers revolutionized pinball. I mean, obviously, as we know it, and these kind of unique. There's 6 flippers on this, and it's all they're doing is basically keeping the ball.
So they all move at the same time.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Right flipper will move all 3 of these.
Yep.
All 3 of these to just kind of nudge the ball back into play. But because you had some additional control of it over nudging, and nudging's part of the game too. Yep. Even on the newer games, nudging and a little bit. And this Gottlieb knockout.
But even the woodwork, even the legs, like, I mean, they're just.
Yeah.
Man. Just that alone, I mean, the history on that is just unreal.
We have a whole row of Gottlieb wedge heads. And so wedge heads are, you can look at the back of these, any of these. You have that trapezoid head.
Right.
And so that was Gottlieb's signature. And Williams did reverse wedge heads for a while. But you look at these games, and if you see any head like that, you know it's a Gottlieb single player specifically. And so I've read that the reason Gottlieb designed them like this, not only to be visually
appealing,
to stand out from the other ones. I've read, whether this is true or not, I don't know, that the reason they made the trapezoid head is so that arcades couldn't put games right up against them. So that these players, because if you look at the heads,
so you have some more room.
You have some room to play.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. And you see, we have 4 games here, and 2 of them look similar. And so we have a game which is a replay game, which you would earn a credit.
Right.
And this is the same game called Free Fall that you would earn extra balls. So this is called an add-a-ball game as opposed to a replay. And we have the same thing with Ship Ahoy and Buccaneer, and we have a couple other ones. We have a Lucky Hand and a Jacks Open. And these were significant, these add-a-ball games, because as I mentioned earlier, pinball was outlawed in New York. Chicago was actually outlawed for a while. And so these add-a-ball games were made exclusively for those municipalities that banned it. The reason they ban it is because if you earned a credit, they considered that to be currency. So they consider it to be a game of chance, right? And if you're gambling by trying to earn a credit.
Yeah.
When you take the credit out of it and you continue to play balls on a coin that you've already put in the game, it's the way to circumvent the law. So they may have made 1,500 of these games, right? And out of balls, they might have made 450 to 600 of them, roughly.
Wow.
So there's a lot less of those because they were only made for specific places that outlawed pinball.
That's
but
crazy.
These are all your single player Gottliebs.
Yeah, he's working down there. We don't have to walk down through. Yeah, I don't want to get in his way.
We'll peek around.
We'll go around. Yeah.
The gun games.
They have this a few of the big shooters up front here. This looks like new school ones.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see here. We have.
And you got. This is what you said. This is going to be a seating area here. Correct. Eventually, and
yeah.
like restaurant.
So on the right side here, where you see we have a gentleman coming in doing some tile work for us to bring that quarry tile out to where you see the white primer. And then those are going to be. We're going to have booths over here, main sitting area, and then over there where the old deli used to be, we're going to have that's going to be our kitchen.
Nice.
So as far as food goes, we're looking at more quick grab food. We want our food to be good. But we're not going to be open to the public either. So
right.
we want to make sure that we're obviously catering to the people that are inside here. And what I mean by that is food that's quick. You don't want to wait 20 minutes and sit down. And I mean, if you want to take a break, fine. But
right.
Things that you can order and be a little bit quicker.
Because I think in the last video you showed, there was no tile down yet. I didn't see any tile.
There was some. There was a
there?
piece of wall there that didn't have any tile on it. There was
Okay.
some. And we're just filling this in to make it nice and even.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually we had where you see the darker, we had tile come all the way out here.
Oh, okay.
And that was all ground up just because we didn't, a tripping hazard mainly.
Yeah, sure.
And just to keep the tile area to kind of separate our sitting area.
Yeah. No,
all
that's cool.
electromechanical games here. And I can say that if you've been to a place that has older electromechanical games, they probably don't have this many, and we even have some more in the back. So we have a little bit of work.
This is kind of like Hogan's Alley, except you're actually shooting. You know, like the bad guys come up like not in a digital form, let's say like that. Captain Kidd, Duck Hunt.
We had a lot of the cabinets that are redone on these too. If you look.
Okay, with the pegboard.
Yeah. Well, even the designs are repainted and stenciled.
Okay.
So,
wow.
and I'm a collector myself, and there's this. People ask, should I repaint and restore my cabinets on games? And it kind of just depends on how it looks, because there's that point that you have that original, you have that patina, right?
Yeah.
And if it's still nice enough and good enough, I like to leave it as original as possible. But then there's a point where they're so gouged, they're so scratched up, that it just makes sense to get them painted back to the original design and style.
Yep. Makes sense. So all these will be functional as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
And these all these have been gone through. This one right here, we're working, the gun was broken when we got it, but as far as it mechanically,
wow.
this one actually, this is one that hasn't been gone through, but all the
But even
other ones in
the
row.
wood on the wood stock, I mean, they're as good as like a regular rifle.
They actually were 22 rifle stocks.
Were they really?
That's what they were.
I mean, they don't look.
Yeah, they're Remington 22 rifle stocks, and actually, see, you get in the lighting on the butt of this, you can actually see legitimately that's a lot of them, and that's what they were.
Get out.
And these don't, people ask, how do these work? Do they work with lights? You're not shooting live rounds at this.
Right.
But for instance here, what you're seeing here, there's a 45-degree mirror. Again, the targets are down below. So if you were to look at this game from kind of standing back, it almost looks like that the targets in the back of this game,
exactly.
They're like 2 or 3 feet beyond the back of the cabinet. And that's that perspective that you get when you have that 45-degree mirror taking up the space.
Invaders. Yeah, I saw this one too, and I couldn't believe, like you guys said, it was fully restored. I mean, the guns look immaculate.
Yeah, we had a gentleman, Zach Cox, came in from Colorado. And so you see there's little light sensors like on the code.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you can see like down on the...
And so when you start this up, those light sensors will turn red. And as you shoot everything, sounds, they'll move. And there's, we have 5 guns here.
But yeah.
So this is and the parrot at the very top when this game's on, he's your heckler.
Oh,
So he's kind of like the attract mode on a lot of the games that make noise to try to get your attention, but he's up there heckling you. You're playing too.
and then you have of course, you got to have basketball. You can't have an arcade without head-to-head basketball.
No,
right?
we have that, and on the other side where we have the gap, we have some skee balls that are going to be coming in too.
Oh, okay. There you
The
go.
reason they're back to back is because of the footprint.
Yeah.
Because if we actually return these and have their backs against the wall, they come too far out.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have Hercules,
That's a huge pinball table.
world's largest pinball.
Get out of here.
We actually took this one to Pinball Expo.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's let's see here. Should be on. We find the power switch on this thing. Here we go. Yeah, we actually strapped this thing to a cart sideways, turned it on its side, and took this thing to Chicago. But this is the world's largest pinball, and
Just to put that into perspective, my hand in the flipper. I mean, come on, guys.
the ball's actually a cue ball.
Yeah, that ball's big.
So
my.
to play the game,
The table must take abuse from that ball.
yeah, it takes a little. Let's see if I can get the ball. There we go. But I mean, everything is. It's a novelty game. I'm glad we have it.
Oh my goodness.
It's definitely
That's
an
wild.
attraction.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Pinball PA in Pittsburgh does have one of these too. It's in the very back corner.
You'd almost have to have one person play one flipper and the other. I mean, but without sprawling out. I mean, yeah, I guess you can do it because you're doing it.
We have another gentleman that's here that he brought his son in and he took a picture. His son's 8 or 9 years old. I think he's a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's a cute picture because he stood back and took the picture. And it's as far as his little arms can reach
Yeah, exactly.
to play.
Wow. That is pretty wild.
Sega Periscope, I believe, now this is Sega, as you know Sega, I believe that this is the first like arcade game that they made. It's humongous. And there's only a handful of these, and what's kind of fun about this is you look at how gigantic this is, a little bit behind the curtain. The cabinet, for the most part, is just completely empty. So the relay boards are on the side in there.
Yeah.
But it's all just
Aesthetic.
yeah. So how this game works is there's light ships that go across the back, and you turn this, you push the button, and missiles will go, and it'll hit and explode. And
Wow. Of course, Galaga, and we're back at Tron.
yeah, so that's your
There's your.
perspective of looking
Yeah.
down the row and seeing these ones.
That is still cool though, because when you come down and you're able to see, because I know a lot of the guys, they want like Arcade 1-Up to make a Paperboy. I mean, that's to be able
Because
to
the
see that.
handlebars, right? Like you can play
It's classic.
You can play Paperboy on the Nintendo, right?
Yeah, of
fine.
course.
To have this though,
You gotta do it the right way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before in your video about the Pokemon, that's
Yeah.
also a rare one, isn't it?
one of one. So this has been floating around some of the pinball forums that there's a guy who he made this game for, I can't remember if it was his daughter or granddaughter. And so this game is actually, it's a Chicago coin game called High Score Pool.
Okay.
And so he rethemed it, reskinned it, had a back glass, and you can see that there's some digital. We'll play it. All right, so you see all the Pokemon balls
Yep.
are lit up.
Yep.
All right, so we'll shoot the ball. We'll get up there, and as I shoot it up there,
Oh, that's how you kind of quote
you
unquote
collect
catch
them.
them.
Yeah. So ball goes down here. Okay, we have it in the shooter.
Yep.
I shoot the button. There we go. Here comes more.
Oh, that's cool. Instead of a plunger, it's
A little shooter, yeah.
yeah.
There we go. So this in the game, when this game was the high score pool, that wasn't a good example of playing. The game
All
was
good.
these were billiard balls that you would collect,
That's pretty cool.
and something that we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But Rob actually thought what would be really fun for this to make this attraction for the little ones is underneath it we have a card dispenser.
Oh, we get some Pokemon cards.
We'll actually do Pokemon cards if you
cool.
hit certain scores.
That'd be cool.
So we can tap into the score, the replay scores, and use that to say, hey, every time you hit a certain score, it would drop a card.
And I'm sure the value on that will go up because they just retired Pikachu and the handler over there.
Gotcha.
They're going to be bringing out new, I guess, a new Pokemon that's going to be like their mascot, I guess. After 17 years, yep, they just announced they're retiring them.
Yes, this is one of one.
That's
so
cool.
if you've seen this, if anyone's seen this in online pictures or forums, it went to Expo. The guy brought it to Expo on free play, and Rob said, I want that. I want to have that for the arcade. So here it is. And we're going to end up moving this up towards the front too.
We got to see. Put in a request for like a sit-down Star Wars.
We actually have that.
Yes, that would
Well, they have it up in storage. The thing about that is it's humongous.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I see these little.
Yeah, even these sit-downs over here, the Omega
They're
Race
not big compared
and
to
the
that.
Red Baron. It doesn't compare. I mean, we might be able to put it on the side right here where you see this opening, but that thing is a monstrosity. And we're gonna hopefully have a row of some sit-down games, driving games, cockpit style games. They take up room. It'd be nice to have those, but pulling those out of storage and getting those set up is something that's definitely on our radar.
Glenn on the show, he had a Zaxxon like this.
Yeah.
And when New York got flooded that time, like 3 feet up on it got all underwater. I don't even know if it works for him anymore. It was in immaculate shape. He was so bummed.
I had when I was growing up, we had a Tandy 1000 floppy.
Computer space again.
And we had Zaxxon on it, so I'd play with our joystick.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these games though, I don't ever remember seeing in the arcade, but I was also like, they had all the more new stuff when it started coming out. Like they had Blitz and Mortal Kombats and stuff.
Yeah.
So like any of this type of stuff, like I said, Donkey Kong was one that I remember playing at the bowling alley, and they had it. Tempest. Oh, I missed that one. They did the Arcade 1-Up actually did the theme where it looks just like that. Battletoads. Yeah, I mean that even looks, for Tempest, that screen looks phenomenal.
That's a legitimate vector monitor.
Man.
Yeah, those vectors they're difficult.
They're probably hard to get.
Yeah, and they're difficult to work on. So that's an actual working vector monitor.
Marble Madness, that's one of my favorite. In fact, the one at games I have it skinned as Marble Madness because of that.
I want to show you this turkey shoot. This is fun. So the game's kind of silly, but this turkey shoot game, what it is you're well, I'll just do it. So you're shooting these bank robbers. Okay, is what you're doing. The bank robbers are turkeys. Okay, so there's the turkeys that I'm shooting.
So is this another one that has like, is it mirrored?
No.
Oh, so you are actually.
Oh, there's a mirror in this one. I apologize. Yes. I didn't see them get it. I didn't beat the mission.
I didn't know. Oh yeah, it is.
It's down there. Yeah, because there's the depth perception that makes it a little bit deeper. All right, let's try this again. Because if you beat it, that's what's fun about this game. That's what I wanted to show you. All right, let's see if I can get these guys this time. I'll try to focus a little more. Come on. There we go.
Come on, Michael.
Come on.
There you go.
Oh, I gotta get this guy. All right, look. See the feathers?
That's awesome. Is that the whole point of it? It just shoots the feathers.
So what's fun? There's 2 pieces of glass here.
Yeah.
And there's just feathers in it. And this is just a pinball coil. So we have a constantly running fan. And when we beat the round, it just pulls this coil in and just opens that door to blow those feathers.
Get out. That's pretty
Then it
wild.
closes. So it's a fun little, just a gimmicky little animation that's kind of fun.
Cool. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, that'll be another one. That'll be that's a very popular one, I guess.
We pulled that one in the Varcon game.
That's in good shape too.
Out of there's a pretty popular auction in California that happened called the Banning auction. Those ones came out of that auction. Those 2 are hard to get too.
So he was mentioning earlier, and I want to reiterate this to you guys, like he said, some of these have some prop numbers on it. If for some reason you happen to know a movie or a TV show maybe that you've seen it in, I'll show you this one up here again, but leave a comment below, because I think Mike would like to know.
I'd love to know.
Just to even cross-reference it, maybe you get in contact with them, or, and like I said, we're going to come in and shoot a more in-depth video. I'll bring my camcorder in and we'll do all that way. But this was the one that he was really interested. Here, we can show this again here. Get an angle maybe again. Yeah, it's just so